Hello, it's me, it's Craig. Welcome to Flooded. Nice to see you again, to see you nice. I am just fresh off of watching Boba Fett. And what did I think of it? Well, I like it. I don't not like it. The first episode is actually called Chapter 1. It's Chapter 1 called Stranger in a Strange Land. Which is odd because it's not a strange land, as it turns out. And before I tell you where it is, spoilers all the way through. I'm really sorry. I can't really talk about this in any other manner than to give you spoilers. There's no real big sort of cliffhangers. It's just a very one direction storyline, to be honest. Lots of flashback. So, you know, I'm not really spoiling anything. I'm just telling you it feels like a setup episode, and I hope it gets a little bit more complex with a few more layers later on, but for now it's very simplistic, very Star Wars in terms of the look and the feel and the costumes. It's set, as I say, spoilers, it's set after the fight at the Sarlacc pit, where there's a bit of a fight. Boba Fett is thrown into the Sarlacc pit. You don't see this. This is from the film Return of the Jedi. And it starts really... Let me just make sure I get this in the right order. Well, it actually starts at Jabbas Palace, which is actually known as Hutt Castle. It used to be a monastery, I think, so I don't think it could always be Hutt Castle. And you see lots of tilting down the lenses. I noticed a little bit lens bulge in the middle, which I wasn't very keen on. And inside Jabba's palace, we see Boba Fett. He's there. He's scarred, and he's in stasis. He's submerged in some liquid. He has a tube, like from a vacuum cleaner, going into his mouth. And we cut to him dreaming or some sort of remembering something that's happened. We go into flashback where he is inside the Sarlacc, at the Sarlacc pit. He's there, and he's literally standing in a corridor of flesh and guts and organs and things. Which is what the inside of a Sarlacc stomach looks like. And there's you can see, he notices a stormtrooper further down this corridor, and you can see that the acid's eaten away a little bit of the armor. So he has to get out of there quick. He makes his way to the stormtrooper, rips out the air tube and sticks it into his own mask. He's got his mask on, by the way. And then he shoves his fist through the side wall of the stomach, and it cuts. And he does his flamethrower thing, and then he escapes. I'll make sure that I'm getting this in the right order. We see the Sarlacc pit. He punches his fist through the sand, and he escapes. He then gets caught and beaten up by some Jawas, and it's all great. Oh, look, Jawas! I'm sure there'll be lots of Star Wars fans who are like doing backflips with joy at seeing that. For me, I'm not like a massive I am a Star Wars fan, but I feel exhausted. I've got so much fatigue from watching Star Wars stuff. I just feel it's like being handed out like it's like a buffet. A buffet of Star Wars is what Disney's serving out at the minute. It's like, you know, do you want some more Star Wars with your Star Wars? You know, it's too much for me, and it's kind of like everywhere, and I'm suffering from Star Wars fatigue. But I wanted to review this anyway because I was excited about it. I'll tell you exactly what I thought of it at the very, very end. Where did I get up to? So he is getting beaten up by Jawas, who take all his armor off him, and then they then get attacked by Tusken Raiders, and they drag him away. And he cuts to him. What happens when he gets dragged away? Tusken Raiders take him to the Banthas. You notice when he's lying on his back in the desert, there's like a side angle shot of him. And I know it's a little bit cheeky me saying this, but he's a wee bit tubby. It's like got a wee little belly there on him. So he's a bit out of shape. He's old. And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm old too. But yeah, it's kind of, for me, is this really how Boba Fett looked when he was fighting Luke Skywalker at the Sarlacc pit? I mean, it's pathetic, really, to sort of raise these things, but it's kind of true, isn't it? This is like an old Boba Fett, and I suppose they've hidden his age a little bit by adding a lot of scarring to the face. I think the budget for this, incidentally, was 100 million to make the whole 7 episodes or 7 chapters. Presumably they're in 7 chapters. But if that's the case, that's roughly 14 million per episode. But thinking about it, and this is what you would do in television as well, you would sometimes some episodes will be more expensive. So if you've got 100 mil to spread across the whole 7, 14 mil per episode is, the correct maths. But you might spend 35 on one episode and then, I don't know, 10 on another, so you can some can be more expensive, and usually the opening show and the end show would probably be a little bit more expensive perhaps, or maybe the penultimate show would be more expensive, or maybe the episode that's got a cameo would be more expensive because you're paying a lot of money for a face. So the Jawas rob him, the Tusken Raiders tie him up. They take him away on banthas, they tie him up. I noticed the Tusken Raiders, incidentally, they had like this added layer of sophistication to the costumes, which I really liked. He's tied up next to a red Rodian, the species of Rodian. We've seen Rodians as green before. This one's red, so that was quite interesting. So, red Rodians. Why would they all be green? There maybe some are from hotter areas. Who knows? He escapes, and then the Rodian makes a lot of fuss and noise to tell the Tuskens that he's escaping. He runs away. He has to fight a big lizard dog. Then he has to fight a Tusken, and he loses horribly. And then he wakes up, and he's back in his submerged liquid in Jabba the Hutt's thing, and it was all a dream, or he was remembering, or something. We don't know yet. And he wakes up, and he's next to Fennec Shand, who is an assassin. And she is standing there with her helmet off. And she's played by Ming Na Wen. Of course, Tamura Morrison's playing Boba Fett. And they go down to Jabba's throne room, which has been modernized because Jabba's hut, after Jabba died, it was taken over by Bib Fortuna, and then Boba Fett kills Bib Fortuna, and it's basically been run as like a crime lord's palace now. So people are coming to pay their respects to the new lord, who is Boba Fett. I think he's new. And people are coming to pay tribute to him. And if you don't pay tribute, you'll be asked why. And that happens. Somebody turns up who is a representative for the mayor, does not offer a tribute, and there's a little bit of animosity there. So there's obviously some bad relationship between Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and the mayor. So we'll probably find out more about that at a later stage. So I think the mayor could become the arch enemy, maybe, or somebody the mayor's working for, perhaps. Essentially, it's the gangsters. He's like a good gangster, and he's a good gangster because every time people come and they misbehave or they don't pay tribute, there's a droid there voiced by Matt Berry. He plays a droid called UK2B. I think that's the name of it, or maybe it's just the model of it. And of course, every time you have a droid on Star Wars now, you employ a British comedian to do the voice. But we find out that this Boba Fett, the new sort of lord of the manor, if you like, he won't do torture, he won't be carried, and he won't kill. So he's a good guy. Whereas Fennec Shand is a little bit sort of embarrassed by his niceness. She's a little bit more of an assassin, a bit more brutal, and she takes no prisoners if she can. So she's a strong woman. The cuts and they enter Mos Espa, big city. On Tatooine, Mos Espa, they go to the local cantina, which is called the Sanctuary. They're welcomed by the owner of the cantina, whose name escapes me. She is she's a Twi'lek, I think. We see they're approached by 2 Twi'leks. I only mention that because there's we've seen them in the past as being female, very sexualized dancers, and here there's a male, wearing next to nothing male and wearing next to nothing female approach them. I just thought that was interesting that they'd introduced a male as well, bringing it up to date with the times. We meet the owner of the club. She says, let me take your helmets to get them polished. So the helmets are taken away reluctantly, and they have a conversation. He basically says, and this it's kind of like nothing. He says nothing to her. He says, "Hi, I'm here now. Just saying hi, just letting you know that's everything's fine, cool, hi." And that's it. There's really no big development in that conversation at all. And then the two servants come back with the dancers come back with the helmets, and his helmet's full of money, so it's some sort of protection racket that Bib Fortuna had been running there before, and it was just assumed that Boba Fett was going to continue it. But he takes the money, he leaves in his helmet, and they are immediately attacked in the street by some attackers, and we don't know who they are as yet. Maybe they work for the mayor, I don't know. They've got like these big orange shields in their arm bracelets. There's a fight, and of course they start to win when the two big green hippopotamus guard type guys come running up, and they start getting somewhere. Everyone gets knocked out or killed. There's no blood, there's no gruesomeness to it at all, just being knocked out. It looks like everyone's just getting knocked out. I did notice that Boba Fett was slow in his fighting because he's like an old man. I mean, the character isn't, but the actor is. So he looks slow. Two of them escape up the side of a building and over the roof. Fennec Shand then runs after them, and he goes, "Hey, bring them back alive." And she goes, "Oh, all right then." She doesn't say that. But she then runs over the roof, and then we follow her, and she fights them, and she kicks one over the wall, and presumably they get knocked out. And then she takes the other one sort of live as a sort of prisoner. And then it will cut from her taking that guy prisoner, to Boba Fett's back at Jabbas Palace. He's been dragged back into his status chamber, where he's put in the status chamber, and then it cuts again to dreaming of being tied up back with the Tusken Raiders. He's taken to the desert by a child Tusken Raider, or certainly a very short Tusken Raider, and they're on a mission to find water, which appears in these sort of egg capsule things, and they're sort of digging away in the sand. For some reason, they walk to a remote area where they start their digging. I don't know why they specifically went there. The Rodian goes with them, and the Rodian sort of uncovers the hand. Looks like a lizard's hand, like giant lizard's hand. And then it turns out that this is a giant kind of lizardy type creature with 6 legs and 6 hands. It stands on its rear legs. It's got 4 hands available to attack you, and it is literally that. Argh! They fight it. Boba Fett, of course, jumps on its back and strangles it, very much in the same way that Leia strangles Jabba the Hutt. It's obviously similar, and he's there and he's riding the back of it. He strangles it. It's completely unbelievable that he'd be able to do that. But he does it with the chain, with his own chain. He strangles he strangles the animal. And then it cuts to them walking back to the Tusken camp. And yes, we've got Boba Fett just walking freely now with the lizard dog, and the little kid Tusken Raiders running ahead carrying the head of this monster. And there's lots of jubilation, and obviously he has saved this child from being killed. And a Tusken Raider sort of passes him a water stone thing, and he gets given some water, and then it ends. So no cliffhanger as such. Just a lot of Star Warsy stuff, and that's kind of what it is. It is a real trip back to Return of the Jedi and Star Wars and deserts and banthas and Tuskens and Jawas and sandy looking towns with round buildings with dome tops and cantinas and all the old characters. It's just oozing familiarity. The story is not interesting at all. I'm just not interested. I shouldn't use the word hate, but helmets off. Don't like it. I've never liked it in Marvel or any other sort of hero film with the heroes. You know, you're sort of like this person by day and then that person by night, or that hero by night. And I don't believe in the heroes being in costumes with their masks or helmets. off. I think they should always have their masks and helmets on when they're being the hero. And I just think it's a shame that he's taking his helmet off all the time, so we can see the actor. And I understand why it happens. It's something, you pay for an actor and you want to see them act, and as an actor you want to be able to act. And I suppose the only thing that would say that you don't need to take your helmet off is the success of Mandalorian, where for the best part he leaves his helmet on all the time, and it's great. So he didn't really need to take his mask off all the time. It kind of like spoils it for me. Imagine Darth Vader did that. The big reveal at the end, Darth Vader's death, was superb. But imagine that they just had his helmet coming off all the time. Oh yeah, they did with Kylo Ren and other characters. So I enjoyed it from a Star Warsy point of view. It's very Star Wars. The story is, for me, a bit drab. Nothing's really happening. It could pick up. It felt like this episode was just a set-up episode. I'm not giving up on it. I don't feel inspired to watch anymore. But I may do. It's kind of weird. It's like an arrogance to assume that you don't have to do a beginning, middle, and end, because this doesn't really have a beginning, middle, and end. We don't know. There's lots of, we don't know, the character at the end is not any different from the character at the beginning. There's no arc within the episode, and we don't really know much, so we've not really learnt much. There's just it's a building episode. Yeah, I'm kind of like, when I say it's an arrogance to do that, it's kind of like the brand is so huge, it perhaps assumes too much from us as viewers, that it doesn't really have to tick all the boxes of good storytelling. It just has to deliver familiar characters and familiar surroundings and costumes and Star Warsy things, and you'll all be happy with it. I just got a bit bored. I don't care about him at all yet. I might do, but not in that episode. They had 30 minutes to do it. It's about 35 minutes long per episode with 3.5 minutes of credits. And I'm not totally down on it. I'm going to be seeing where it goes. Let me know what you think, because I am interested. I would really like to see what other people are saying about this, because it's not filling me with joy or excitement at all. But I would really appreciate knowing what you think. Write something down in the comments below, or you can just send me a message on Twitter at Fludded. Good luck to it. I will be watching. Hope it does well, and fingers crossed. Let me know what you think. Take care. Speak to you soon.